Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. If you follow the channel, you might know I'm a little bit of a Sinn fan. I don't know if it comes across in the videos, but I've well over 130 videos on the subject. And today we're lucky enough to have the the EZM3F in for review. Now, the EZM3 range of watches, there's two of them, a dive and a pilot model, the F being the pilot model. I say it's been in Sinn stable now for over 20 years, and it's a firm favourite of the fans out there because it's a real tool watch. Biggest difference with the dive model versus the pilot Flieger model we have here is the dive capability ratings. This is only a 200-meter diver. I know, bit of a bind, isn't it? But the dive watch is actually a little bit thicker at 0.6 of a mil thicker, and that has a 500-meter dive rating. There are other differences which we'll talk about later in the video, but for now I've got to say a massive thank you to Ryan and team over at Francis & Gay of Coventry for allowing me to review this watch. They've got absolutely so many watches in stock, it's rude not to pop in and have a look if you're in the Midlands area. If you're a little bit further afield, I'll leave a link in the description below for their website. So anyway, let's talk sizes first. This is a 41mm watch. Now, I say that, but the bezel is actually 41mm, and as you can see, there's an overhang each side, and the case is actually 40mm. The thickness of this watch is 11.7. The lug-to-lug is, I think it was about 47.5, and the bracelet size is 20mm. Now, the dial. Let's press that. There we go. Dial. We have this matte black finish to it with the printed on markers. Now, the markers and these rather nice syringe style hands all have lume on them, and to be fair, the lume is actually quite good. Also, you have the lume pip up here, which is also, obviously lumed, I should say. And overall, the lume I think is pretty good on this watch. It's not bad at all. I like you've got the minimal kind of text, just the lovely Sinn written up on there. I'm gonna have to try and pronounce it, aren't I? Ein zum Messer. I can never pronounce that bit right. Basically comes across as mission timer, and AR, which we'll talk about in a second, down here, what that signifies. Over here we have the date at the 3:30 position on a black background, so it doesn't distract really from the rest of the dial. The main thing is with the EZM range of watches is clarity, legibility. You've got to be able to look at this at a glance and read the time. They're all obviously designed with different kind of professions in mind, and this is very much the pilot military style of the EZM range, and I've always liked their watches for that. Now, as we come past that, we have a flat sapphire crystal, just sits ever so slightly proud of the body of the watch, and it does have AR coating on both sides. I've got no problem with that. Some people don't like it, but it's up to you. Now, the bezel. One thing I should say about the dial, and one way it differs from the dive model. This has got a perfect, very clean, legible finish to it. I like that a lot. Now, the dive model, they basically used that kind of theory on the later EZM13, which Bob is wearing over here. Now, if you can see, it also has the actual numerals marked on the dial. Now, I personally prefer the cleaner look of none of that, but it depends what you like. Some people do prefer that, but one thing I should point out is that Sinn actually dropped this 13 for the newer 13.1, which is a video I made way before they did it, asking them to do it. And I personally prefer the cleaner look of it myself. Now, the bezel. Let's hear if it's any good. Actually, it's really solid. And this is another... Is it back play? Actually, there's actually none, which is really nice, because what it does, it clicks in. It's a 60-click bezel. So that means is every turn is 1 minute, and it's absolutely solid, really nice. But this is, again, one thing where it differs from the dive model. Now, the dive model obviously will only rotate one way, where this, I can rotate backwards. Also, the bezel, this is a kind of countdown bezel. So what I'm, basically you can set that to 5 minutes, and when it gets to there, you count, it's a countdown. So that's the way this one works, where the other one is flipped round. So the 55, 50 is all on the opposite side. A little bit like the EZM3 there, how it goes around the other way round. So that's one thing. Now, it's a standard clip-on bezel. I'm surprised they never went with the captive bezel system on this, but I think because it is so thin, they couldn't do it. So anyway, as we go past that, I'll just do a quick so you can hear the sound. It's a very, very nice sound, actually. That's a good one. It clicks in really nice. Now, as we come to the body of the watch, this is kind of a standard body they use on this and a few other watches. It is just solid, but they're bead blast finished it. Now, this is more a kind of military thing. It does also harden the material somewhat, but you don't want reflections coming off your watch, and that's one thing with the bead blasting. Now, over here is what another part of Sinn's tech range. This is what's signified on the dial, AR. This is a special capsule. Copper sulfite crystals are compact in a titanium small case in there, and that absorbs any moisture which is on the watch. Now, I've mentioned a thing about the ice cube on the dial before, but let's say you go in from a sauna to suddenly an ice plunge thing or whatever, and you're wearing your watch. The sudden change in temperature can cause moisture to actually fog up the dial. Now, because everything with air normally has some kind of water, you're going to have moisture within the air. So what Sinn do, they actually extract, they put it in a vacuum, suck out the oxygen and put an inert gas in there. It also then has it has used better seals than rubber. They have the green style seals. I just serviced a 556 the other day and you could see the green seals in that. They are very, very cool. Now, basically the particles of the inert gas are thinner than air, so it has to stop those particles escaping. So if there is any moisture left within the watch, these copper sulfite crystals will catch it, and this will slowly change colour as it does. And there is actually a chart where you can see where it says if it's saturated it will need a service. So that's one thing in there. Another tech they also use inside is very special oils. Now, these oils are guaranteed down to minus 45 centigrade all the way up to plus 80. Now, what they do is actually freeze each individual, a load of them at a time, and they freeze them down at minus 45 to check their timekeeping. They do that on every single watch, which is really impressive, I think. So, there really is quite a cool bit of tech going on in here. There's also a low pressure rating on the dial, so you shouldn't have any problems with the dial coming out or anything like that due to sudden temperatures in changes in pressure. So anyway, as we look round the back, I've left the sticker on there because it's not my watch, and that is designated as the 13F. Sorry, the 3F. I keep saying 13 because that one's out. Now, I put this on the time grapher because it actually houses the SW200 top grade movement. A big difference with top grade versus standard. So Doxers, Oris, all those watches use the same movement. You'll get some micro brands which use it as well, but this has got top grade in it. Basically, on the time grapher report, I think I was getting around about plus 1.5, 2 seconds. So it's a more refined version of the movement, and Sinn always use that. It's a 26 joule movement with approximately minimal of kind of 38 hours of power reserve. So it's just fantastic. As you can see on this as well, it does have the crown on the left hand side with these crown guards here. It's got the crown is a screw down crown, and it's got a nice pop as it comes out. Now, 2 reasons for doing this. One, I was told that years ago, as the military who basically wanted these watches didn't want it on this side because if they're wearing thick rubber gloves and as they go holding a gun, it can press and possibly put them off their mark. Another one I heard was when you put on the special forces kind of boiler suits they wear, it doesn't get trapped up on the crown as you put it on. That was one of the military guys actually told me that. He said these are much easier if the crown isn't on this side. So that's, it's one of those things. Now, the bracelet itself, the hex. This is the H-link, and it's got the hex keys in there. Now, these are not all the same. I know some people are like, well, that one will fit on there. It probably will, but the thickness is a lot different. This is much thicker than this one. So there are subtle differences. And overall, I think this is just a great bracelet. It's really comfortable, superb. You get the special Allen keys or hex bolt keys, whatever you call them, wherever you're from. And you also get a little bit of Loctite to make sure they don't come loose. Now, the clasp, I know loads of people whinge on about it, but I've never had one fail. And as you can see, look how slim the clasp is in comparison to many others which have on-the-fly micro adjustment, but these are incredibly slim and no problem at all. 3 levels of micro adjustment and not a problem. A fold over safety clip there and a dive link extension on this side. So I think they're absolutely superb. Let me show this on the wrist so you got an idea how it looks. Quick wrist check, zoom out. I'm wearing my Piquet Royal Manual, which is a firm favourite, and as we've spoken, Bob has got the EZM3F on there. So that one is actually, I pre-ordered that when Sinn very first said they were going to announce it. So that one is number 26. So one of the very first EZM3Fs to ever be released. There we go, that's it on. So this is the watch on my 7¼ inch wrist. And I personally, it's just fantastic. It's a nice, slim, do-it-all watch. Definitely more for the tool side of things versus the more dressy. Now, one thing I should point out, actually, I didn't mention, is you can fit the silicone straps to these. So if you wanted to, you could go with a white silicone here, or if you wanted to, you could go with a black silicone as well. They still look amazing on either. So anyway, guys, I'm going to leave you to it that. Hope you enjoyed the review, and most importantly, stay safe out there. Take care. Bye.